Wiggly girl. Maybe wiggly. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe wiggly. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, burpy, huh? Yeah. You get out a big burp. Hey guys. Hey Victoria, we missed you yesterday. Betty Boop is in the house. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey Jen. How did that Monday end up for you guys? I know Monday was Mondaying for a lot of people, huh? Hello, hello. Yeah. This one's empty, huh? Good morning, good morning. It was long but uneventful. Okay, that's fair. That is fair. Oh no, this is full. Now we gotta empty it while I'm holding the baby. Ah. Okay, we can do it. I can do it. I am capable of many things. It was so cute, Isabella. So cute. I was like, what is happening? My Monday was a 12-hour workday delivering. Oh my god, that sounds terrible. Honestly. Just sounds... Sorry, that was loud. Terrible. Truly, truly terrible. Okay. Okay. And it was, yeah, I believe it. How do they decide, like, stuff like that? I mean, like, 12 hours seems crazy. There's something about school supplies because for... Wait, that's something in my school... Oh, your school gives that? Oh, that's cool. Oh, some places here do it with puppies. Yeah. That's cool. Oh, I love that for you, Isabella. That's really wonderful. Morning, Anya. Only one more day till your trip. Oh, that's exciting. Every Tuesday. That's amazing. Hi, Jackie. We had 6 people call out, so... Oh my gosh, you had a... Wow, that's crazy. It's weird that they don't have like on-call people or anything like that, Christina, in case situations like that. I guess they couldn't. I don't know. Morning, Priscilla. Jeez. I just like to see your nose. Don't be mad at me. How's everyone doing? Good stuff all around? How did baby sleep last night? She sleeps really well at night, actually. She's a great night sleeper. If I didn't have to pump, I would be getting so much sleep, you guys. She's a really good night sleeper. So it's not her fault that I don't get sleep, that's for sure. Yeah, it's not you. Morning, Kiana. It's definitely not you, my sweet angel. Like last night she slept, her long stretch last night was 9.5 hours. So, you know, I just want to say Slime of the Month is beautiful. Thank you, Jamie. That's very kind of you to say. I thought it came out really nice too. I was pretty proud of that one. Yeah, she slept straight through 9.5 hours. Would that we were all so lucky. Has anyone attended 505? What is that? What is it? I don't know anything about it. I know it's a great stretch. She's a great sleeper, guys. Literally. But I have to get up to pump anyway. first song of the month is already in the mail, Jen, because I had your May roll for slime, so I shipped them together with your grab bag. I sent you Love Affair at Midnight because I thought you might enjoy that. The protest thing. I haven't been to any of the current ones, so I can't speak to that. I went to the old ones, obviously. So yeah, that is a good question. If she was older, I would probably take her, if I'm being honest, right? I went to one organized one. How was it, Jen? Did you like it? I mean, like, was it well organized? What was? I haven't been to any this year for obvious reasons. Overall, not bad. Oh, that's good. We love it, not bad, right? Bad and not good. Could have been more coherent agenda, but there was passion. Okay. She slept really well, Isabella. Thank you for asking. Morning to the Liz that always matters. Yes. Always, always. Liz, I'm a little bit offended that you didn't respond to the meme that I sent you in the middle of the night. I sent Liz a meme at like 4 a.m. that I thought was hilarious about books. And I expected some laughs. And I have yet to receive said laughs. The meme said something like, the look on my face when I send a book recommendation that I know is going to absolutely wreck my friend emotionally. And it's because Liz and I send, good morning, Liz and I send book recommendations back and forth to each other constantly. Like, if there's one person on this planet who, okay, have you ever seen the things where it's like, you know, you get $100,000 to do XYZ, but a friend of yours has to pick everything out for you. If you see those ones that are like, you have $100,000 to spend in a bookstore, who's picking out all the books? It's Liz. Liz and I read the same stuff generally, so she's picking out my books. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. But she did not respond to my meme, and I'm crushed. Absolutely crushed. Now, listen, is it true that she had a sick kid yesterday? Yes. Is it true that he tried to get out of going to school again today by pretending to be sick? Also, yes. But am I still needy as a friend, and do I still want her to pay attention to me? You betcha. The meme I sent you, Liz. Did you not see the meme I sent you? Everyone's laughing because we know this is completely ridiculous of me to even want. But yes, I sent you a 4 a.m. meme, and it felt very poignant for us. It is our friendship in a nutshell, and I needed you to recognize that. Yes, the Italian hands always come back. It's true. It's true. I am the most Italian hands. Look at how messy my house is. God save us. I really need to clean the house. Thank you for finally looking, Liz. She's checking the meme right now. Is there coffee on my nose? I think there's coffee on my nose. Whatever. All right. So, I'm going to try to, Italy's amazing. Speaking of which, YA Clarence book I picked up is Heretic. Ooh, that sounds amazing. Yes, Heretics Anonymous. That sounds awesome. And yes, the meme is perfection. So I'm going to try to finish our book today, but I do have to tell you, there's some crazy stuff going on at Secret Husband's work right now that started yesterday. And so he has surprise meetings early this morning. So if I have to jump off before we finish, it will only be because he has to go into a meeting. But worst case scenario, we finish tomorrow and start the next one, you know? So let's go ahead and get into it because we don't, no, it's not fun. It's not good stuff, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. Let's read as much as we can. Hopefully we can finish it, but it's really not that much. I mean, this is all we have left. So it's like, Isabella, I'm not sure. I hope so, but it's going to depend on this little lady because she has been very mommy clingy since she got her most recent vaccines, and she doesn't want anyone to hold her except mommy, and she does not want to be put down. So it's going to be dependent on if she wants to be put down or not. But maybe I'll do a live, like the kind of live where I can hold her, and we'll do like a Q&A or something, because that I can do while I'm holding her. So maybe we'll do that, slime Q&A live or something. Anyway, let's get back to reading so we can get through this as quickly as we can. Yes, she has to be the priority, of course, of course. I let Joanna lead because it's a pretty straight shot up to the tree, and I figure she can't get us too lost. Besides, I can do a lot more damage with a sheath of arrows than she can with 2 axes, so I'm the best one to bring up the rear. Oh, sorry, we're on page 362. We're finishing up the previous chapter. The dense, muggy air weighs on me. There's been no break from it since the games began. I wish Hamish would stop sending us that District 3 bread and get us some more of that District 4 stuff, because I've sweated out buckets the last 2 days, and even though I've had the fish, I'm craving salt. A piece of ice would be another good idea, or a cold drink of water, and I'm grateful for the fluid from the trees, but it's the same temperature as the seawater and the air and the other tributes and me. We're all just one big warm stew. And as we near the tree, Finnick suggests that I take the lead. Katniss can hear the force field, he explains to Beetee and Joanna. Hear it? Beetee asks. Only with the ear that the Capitol reconstructed, I say. Guess who's not fooling anyone with that story? Sorry, guess who I'm not fooling with that story? Beetee, because surely he remembers that he showed me how to spot a force field, and it's probably an impossible to hear force field anyway. But for whatever reason, he doesn't question my claim. All right, well, then by all means, let Katniss go first, he says, pausing a moment to wipe the steam off his glasses. Force fields are nothing to play around with. The lightning tree's unmistakable as it towers so high above the others. I find a bunch of nuts and make everybody wait while I move slowly up the slope, tossing the nuts ahead of me. But I see the force field almost immediately, even before a nut hits it, because it's about only 15 yards away. My eyes, which are sweeping the greenery before me, catch a sight of the rippled square high up and to my right, and I throw a nut in that direction in front of me and hear it sizzle, confirmation. Just stay below the lightning tree, I tell the others. We divide up duties, and Finnick guards Beetee while he examines the tree. Joanna taps it for water, and Peeta gathers nuts, and I hunt nearby. The tree rats don't seem to have any fear of humans, so I take 3 down easily. The sound of the 10 o'clock wave reminds me that I should get back, and I return to the others and clean my kill. And then I draw the line in the dirt a few feet from the force field as a reminder for everyone to keep back, and Peeta and I settle down to roast the nuts and sear cubes of rat. Beetee is still messing around the tree and doing I don't know what, taking measurements and such, and at one point he snaps off a sliver of bark and joins us and throws it at the force field. It bounces back and lands on the ground, glowing, and in a few moments it returns to its original color. Well, that explains a lot, says Beetee, and I look at Peeta and I can't help but biting my lip to keep from laughing, since it explains absolutely nothing to anyone except for Beetee. About this time we hear the sound of clicks rising from the sector adjacent to us. It means it's 11 o'clock, and far louder than in the jungle. It's far louder on the jungle than it was on the beach last night. Which really didn't make me stop eating my thing. Yeah, well, you know. We all listen. It's not mechanical, Beetee says decidedly. I guess insects, I say. Maybe beetles? Something with pincers, says Finnick. The sound swells as if alerted by our quiet words to the proximity of live flesh. Whatever's making that quick clicking sound, I bet it could strip us to the bone in seconds. We should really get away from here anyway, says Joanna. There's less than an hour before the lightning starts. But we don't go that far, though. Only to the identical tree in the blood rain section, and we have a picnic of sorts, squatting on the ground, eating our jungle food, and waiting for the bulb that signals that it's noon. At Beetee's request, I climb up into the canopy as the clicking begins to fade out, and then the lightning strikes.
It's dazzling, even from up here, even in this bright sunlight. It completely encompasses the distant tree, making it glow a hot blue and white, and causing the surrounding air to crackle with electricity. I swing down and I report my findings to Beatty, who seems satisfied, even if I'm not terribly scientific. We take a circuitous route back to the 10 o'clock beach. The sand is smooth and damp, swept clean by the recent wave, and Beatty essentially gives us the afternoon off while he works with the wire. Since it's his weapon and the rest of us have to defer to his knowledge entirely, there's an odd feeling of being let out of school early. At first, we take turns having naps in the shadowy edge of the jungle, but by late afternoon, everyone is awake and restless. We decide, since this might be our last chance for seafood, to make a feast of it, and under Finnick's guidance, we spear fish, gather shellfish, and even dive for oysters. I like this last part the best, not because I have any great appetite for oysters. I've only ever tasted them once in the capital, and I couldn't get around the sliminess of them. But it's lovely deep down under the water, like being in a different world. The water's very cool and clear, and not cool, just clear. I don't know why I said that. Remember, everything's the same temperature. The water, them, everything. Not cool. The water's very clear, and schools of bright-hued fish and strange sea flowers decorate the sand floor. Joanna keeps watch while Finnick, Peta, and I clean and lay out the seafood. Peta's just pried open an oyster when I hear him give a laugh. "Hey, look at this!" He holds up a glistening, perfect pearl about the size of a pea. "You know, if you put enough pressure on coal, it turns to pearls," he says earnestly to Finnick. "No, it doesn't," says Finnick dismissively, but I crack up, remembering that's how clueless Effie Trinket presented us to the people of the capital last year before anyone knew us, as coal pressured into pearls by our weighty existence, a beauty that arose out of pain. Peta rinses off the pearl in the water and hands it to me. "It's for you." He holds it out, and I hold it out in my palm, examine its iridescent surface in the sunlight. Yes, I think I will keep it. For the last few remaining hours of my life, I'll keep it close. This gift from Peta, the only one that I can really accept. Perhaps it will give me strength in my final moments. "Thanks," I say, closing my fist around it, and I look coolly into the blue eyes of the person that is now my greatest opponent, the person who would keep me alive at his own expense, and I promise myself I will defeat his plan. The laughter drains from those eyes, and they're staring so intensely into mine, it's like they can read my thoughts. "The locket didn't work, did it?" Peta says, even though Finnick is right there, and everyone can hear him. "Katniss?" "Oh, it worked," I say. "But not the way I wanted it to," he says, averting his glance, and after that he will look at nothing but the oysters. Just as we're about to eat, a parachute appears bearing 2 supplements to our meal, a pot of spicy red sauce, and yet another round of rolls from District 3. Finnick, of course, immediately counts them. 24 again, he says. 32 rolls then, so we each take 5, leaving 7, which will never divide equally, but it's bread for only 1. The salty fish flesh, the succulent shellfish, and even the oysters seem tasty and vastly improved by the sauce. We gorge ourselves until no one can hold in another bite, and even then there are leftovers. They won't keep though, so we toss all the remaining food back into the water so the careers won't get it when we leave. No one bothers about the shells. The waves should clear those away. There's nothing to do now but wait, and Peta and I sit at the edge of the water, hand in hand, wordless. He gave his speech last night, but it didn't change my mind, and nothing I can say will change his. The time for persuasive gifts is over. I have the pearl, though, secured in a parachute with the spile and the medicine at my waist, and I hope it makes it back to District 12. Surely my mother and Prim will know to return it to Peta before they bury my body. How sad. Well, that's the end of Chapter 5. Chapter 26. Page 368. The anthem begins, but there are no faces in the sky tonight. The audience will be restless, thirsting for blood. Beatty's trap holds enough promise, though, that the game makers haven't sent another attack. Perhaps they're simply curious to see if this will work. At what Finnick and I judge to be about 9, we leave our shell-strewn camp, cross to the 12 o'clock beach, and begin to quietly hike up to the lightning tree in the light of the moon. Our full stomachs make us more uncomfortable and breathless than we were on the morning's climb. I begin to regret those last dozen oysters. Beatty asks Finnick to assist him, and the rest of us stand guard. Before he even attaches any wire to the tree, Beatty unrolls yards and yards of the stuff. He He has Finnick secure it tightly around a broken branch and lay it on the ground, and then they stand on either side of the tree, passing the spool back and forth as they wrap the wire around the trunk. At first it seems arbitrary, and then I see a pattern, like an intricate maze appearing in the moonlight on Beatty's side, and I wonder if it makes any difference how the wire is placed, or if this is merely to add speculation for the audience. I bet most of them know about as much as about electricity as I do. The work on the trunks completed just as we hear the wave begin. I've never really worked out what the point of the 10 o'clock hour is as it erupts. There must be some build-up, and then the wave itself, and then the aftermath of the flooding, but the sky tells me it's 10:30, and this is where Beatty reveals the rest of his plan. Since we move most swiftly through the trees, he wants Joanna and me to take the coil down through the jungle, unwinding the wire as we go, and we're to lay it across the 12 o'clock beach and drop the metal spool with whatever is left deep into the water, and we have to make sure it sinks, and then we run for the jungle. And if we go now, right now, we should make it back to safety. I want to go with them as a guard, Peeta says immediately, and after the moment with the pearl, I know he's less than willing to leave me out of his sight. You're too slow. Besides, I'll need you on this end, and Katniss will guard, says Beatty. There's no time to debate this. I'm sorry. If the girls are to get out alive, they need to get on the move now. And he hands the coil to Joanna. I don't like the plan any more than Peeta does. How can I protect him at a distance? But Beatty's right. With his leg, Peeta's too slow to make it down the slope in time. Joanna and I are the fastest and most sure-footed on the jungle floor. I can't think of any alternative, and if I trust anyone here besides Peeta, it's Beatty. It's okay, I tell Peeta. We'll just drop the coil and we'll come straight back up. Not in the lightning zone. Beatty, not into the lightning zone. Beatty reminds me, and please, head for the tree in the 1 to 2 o'clock sector. If you find that you're running out of time, move over one more. Don't even think about going back onto the beach, though, until I can assess the damage. I take Peeta's face in my hand. Don't worry, I'll see you at midnight. I give him a kiss, and before he can object any further, I let go and I turn to Joanna. Ready? Why not, says Joanna with a shrug. She's clearly no happier about being teamed up than I am, but we're all caught up in Beatty's trap. You guard, I'll unwind, and we can trade off later. Without further discussion, we head down the slope. In fact, there's very little discussion between us at all. We move at a pretty good clip, one managing the coil and the other keeping watch. But halfway down, we hear the clicking begin to rise, indicating that it's after 11. You better hurry, Joanna says. I want to put a lot of distance between me and that water before that lightning hits, just in case Volt's miscalculated something. I'll take the coil for a while, I say. It's hard work laying out the wire. It's harder work than laying out the wire than guarding, and she's had a long turn. All right, here, Joanna says, passing me the coil, and both of our hands are still on the metal cylinder when there's a slight vibration. Suddenly, the thin gold wire from above springs down at us, bunching up in tangled loops and curling around our wrists, and then the severed end snakes up to our feet. It takes only a second to register this rapid turn of events. Joanna and I look at each other, but neither of us has to say it. Someone not far above us has cut the wire, and they will be on us at any moment. My hand frees itself from the wire and has just closed on the feathers of an arrow when the metal cylinder smashes into the side of my head. The next thing I know, I'm lying on my back in the vines in terrible pain in my left temple. Something's wrong with my eye. My vision blurs in and out of focus as I strain to make the 2 moons floating above the sky into one. It's hard to breathe, and I realize that Joanna is sitting on my chest, pinning me at the shoulders with her knees. There's a stab in my left forearm, and I try to jerk away, but I'm still too incapacitated. Joanna is digging something, I guess that's the point of her knife, into my flesh, twisting it around, and there's an excruciating, rippling sensation of warmth as it runs down my wrist, filling my palm. She swipes down my arm and coats half of my face with blood. Stay down, she hisses. Her weight leaves my body and I'm alone. Stay down, I think. What is happening? My eye shuts, blocking out the inconsistent world as I try to make sense of my situation. All I can think of is Joanna shoving Wyrus into the beach. Just stay down, will you? But she didn't attack Wyrus, not like this. I'm not Wyrus anyway, and I'm not nuts. Just stay down, will you? It echoes around inside my brain. Footsteps coming, 2 pairs, heavy, not trying to conceal their whereabouts, and then Brutus's voice. She's as good as dead. Come on, Anabaria. Feet moving into the night. Am I? I drift in and out of consciousness, looking for an answer. Am I as good as dead? I'm in no position to make an argument to the contrary. In fact, rational thinking is a struggle in general. This much I know. Joanna attacked me, smashed that cylinder into my head, cut my arm, probably doing irreparable damage to veins and arteries, and then Brutus and Anabaria showed up before she had time to finish me off. The alliance is over. Finnick and Joanna must have had an agreement to turn on us tonight. I knew that we should have left this morning. I don't know where Beatty stands, but I'm fair game, and so is Peeta. Peeta. My eyes fly open in panic. Peeta's waiting up by the tree, unsuspecting and off guard. Maybe Finnick has killed him already. No, I whisper, and that wire was cut from a short distance away by the careers. Finnick and Beatty and Peeta, they can't know what's going on down here. They can only be wondering what's happened and why the wire has gone slack, or maybe even sprung back to the tree. This, in itself, can't be a signal to kill, can it? Surely this was just Joanna deciding that the time had come to break with us, to kill me, to escape the careers, and then bring Finnick into the fight as soon as possible. I don't know. I only know that I must get back to Peeta and I must keep him alive. It takes every ounce of will to push up into a seated position and drag myself up the side of the tree to my feet. It's lucky that I have something to hold on to, because the jungle's tilting back and forth, and without any warning, I lean forward and I vomit up the seafood feast, heaving until there can't be anything possible left in my body. Trembling and slick with sweat, I assess my physical condition, and as I lift up my damaged arm, blood sprays me in the face and the world makes another alarming shift. I squeeze my eyes shut and cling to the tree until the thing steadies a little, and then I take a few careful steps into the neighboring tree and pull off some of the moss without examining the wound until further, and I examining the wound further, tightly bandage my arm, and then it's better, definitely better not to see it, and then I allow my hand to tentatively touch my head wound. There's a huge lump, but not too much blood. Obviously, I've got some internal damage, but I don't seem in danger of bleeding to death, at least not through my head. I dry my hands on moss and I get a shaky grip on my bow with my damaged left arm. I secure the notch of an arrow to the string and make my feet move up the slope. Peeta, my dying wish, my promise, to keep him alive. My heart lifts a bit when I realize that he must be alive because none of the cannons fired. Maybe Joanna was acting alone, knowing that Finnick would side with her once their intentions were clear. Although it's hard to guess what goes on between those two, I think of how he looked at her for confirmation before he agreed to help set up Beatty's trap. There's a much deeper alliance based on years of friendship and who knows what else. Therefore, if Joanna has turned on me, I should no longer trust Finnick. Oof, yeah, not great, Isabella, not great. I reach this conclusion only seconds before I hear someone running down the slope towards me. It's neither Peeta or Beatty because they couldn't move at this pace. I duck around a curtain of vines, concealing myself just in time, and Finnick flies by me, his skin shadowy with medicine. He leaps through the undergrowth like a deer, and he soon reaches the site of my attack. He must see the blood. Joanna? Katniss? He calls, and I stay put until he goes in the direction of Joanna and that the careers took. I move as quickly as I can without sending the world into a whirl. My head throbs with the rapid beating of my heart. The insects, possibly excited by the smell of blood, have increased their clicking until it's a continuous roar in my ears. No, wait, my ears are actually ringing from the hit. Up until the insects shut up, it will be impossible to tell. But when the insects go silent, the lightning will start, and I'll have to move faster. I have to get to Peeta. The boom of a cannon pulls me up short, and someone has died. I know that with everyone running around and armed and scared right now, it could literally be anyone. But whoever it is, I believe the death will trigger a kind of free-for-all out here in the night. People will first kill and wonder about their motives later, so I force my legs into a run. Something snags my feet, and I sprawl out onto the ground. I feel it wrapping around me, entwining me in sharp fibers. A net. This must be one of Finnick's fancy nets, positioned to trap me, and he must be nearby, trident in hand. I flail around for a moment, only working the web more tightly around me, and then I catch a glimpse of it in the moonlight. Confused, I lift my arm, and I see it's entangled in shimmering golden threads. It's not one of Finnick's nets at all. but Beatty's wire, and I carefully rise to my feet and find that I'm in a patch of the stuff that caught on the trunk on its way down to the lightning tree. Slowly, I disengage myself from the wire, and I step out of its reach and continue uphill. On the good side, I'm on the right path and have not been so disoriented by the head injury as to lose my sense of direction. On the bad side, the wires reminded me of the upcoming lightning storm. I can still hear the insects, but are they starting to fade? I keep up the loops of wire a few feet to my left as a guide, and I run, but take great care not to touch them. If those insects are fading and the first bolt of lightning is about to strike the tree, then all its power will come surging down that wire, and anyone in contact with it will die. The tree swims into view, its trunk festooned with gold. I slow down and try to make move with some stealth, but I'm really just lucky to even be upright, and I look for a sign of the others. There's no one. No one is here. "Peeta?" I call softly. "Peeta?" There's a soft moan that answers me, and I whip around to find a figure lying high up on the ground. "Beatty!" I exclaim, and I hurry and I kneel beside him. The moan must have been involuntary. He's not conscious, and although I can see no wound except for a gash below the crook of his elbow, I grab a handful of moss and I clumsily wrap it while I try to rouse him. "Beatty, Beatty, what is going on? Who cut you? Beatty!" I shake him in a way that you should never shake an injured person, but I honestly don't know what else to do. He moans again and briefly raises a hand to ward me off. This is when I notice that he's holding a knife, the one that Peeta was carrying earlier, and I think it's wrapped loosely in the wire. Perplexed, I stand and lift the wire, confirming that it's attached back to the tree, and it takes a moment to remember that it's sectioned much shorter in strands that Beatty wound around the branch and left on the ground before he even began his design on the tree. And I thought that it had some electrical significance, had been set aside to be used later or something, but it never was, because there's probably a good 20 or 25 yards here. I squint hard up at the hill, and I realize we're only a few paces from the force field. There's the telltale square, high up and to my right, just as it was this morning. What did Beatty do? Did he actually try to drive the knife into the force field the way that Peeta did by accident? And what's the deal with the wire? What was his backup plan? If the electrifying the water failed, did he mean to send the lightning bolt's energy into the force field? What would that do anyway? Nothing. A great deal? Maybe fry us all? The force field must be mostly energy too, I guess. The one in the training center was invisible. This one seemed somehow to mirror the jungle, but I've seen it falter when Peeta's knife struck it, and when my arrow hit it. The real world, lies right beyond this. My ears are not ringing. It was the insects after all, and I know now that because they're dying out quickly, I can hear nothing but the jungle sounds. Beatty is useless. I can't rouse him, and I can't save him. I don't know what he was trying to do with the knife and the wire, and he's incapable of explaining it to me. The moss bandage on my arm is soaked, and there's no use in fooling myself. I'm so lightheaded that I'm going to black out in a matter of minutes, and I've got to get away from this tree. And Katniss, I hear his voice through, although he's far a distance away. But what is he doing? Peeta must have figured out what everyone's doing and hunting us by now. Katniss, I can't protect him. I can't move fast or far, and my shooting abilities are questionable at best. I do one thing that I know I can do, and I draw the attackers away from him and over to me. Peeta! I scream out. Peeta, I'm here! Yes, I will draw them in. Any in my vicinity will go away from Peeta and to me. The lightning tree will soon be a weapon in and of itself. I'm here! I'm here! He won't make it, not in time with that leg in the night. He will never make it to me. Peeta? It's working. I can hear them coming. 2 of them crashing through the jungle. My knees start to give out and I sink down next to Beatty, resting my weight on my heels. My bow and arrow are lifted into position. If I could take them out, will Peeta survive the rest? Enobaria and Finnick reach the lightning tree. They can't see me sitting above them on the slope, my skin's camouflaged in ointment. I hone in on Enobaria's neck. With any luck, when I kill her, Finnick will duck behind a tree for cover just as the lightning bolt strikes, and it will be any second now. There's a faint insect click here and there. I can kill them now. I can kill them both. And then there's another cannon. Katniss? Peeta's voice howls for me, but this time I don't answer. Beatty still breathes fairly faintly beside me, and he will die soon. Finnick and Enobaria will die. Peeta is alive. 2 cannons sound. Brutus, Joanna, Chafe, 2 of them are already dead. and that will leave PETA with only one tribute to kill, and that's the very best I can do. One enemy. 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 The word is tugging at a recent memory, pulling into the present, the look on Hamish's face. Katniss, when you're in the arena, the scowl misgiving. What? I hear my own voice tighten as I bristle at some unspoken accusation. You just remember who the enemy is, Hamish says. That's all. Hamish's last words of advice to me. Why would I need reminding? Haven't I always known who the enemy is? Who starves us and tortures us and kills us in the arena? Who will soon kill everyone I love? My bow drops as his meaning registers. Yes, I do know who the enemy is, and it is not an Abaria. I finally see Beatty's knife with clear eyes. My shaking hands slide the wire from the hilt, winding it around the arrow just above the feathers. I secure it with a knot that I picked up in the training. I rise, and I turn to the force field, fully revealing myself but no longer caring, only caring about where I should direct the tip of my arrow, where Beatty would have driven his knife if he was able to choose. My bow tilts up at the wavering square, the flaw, what did he call it that day? The chink in the armor. I let the arrow fly, and I see that it hits its mark and it vanishes, pulling the thread of gold behind it. My hair stands on end, and the lightning strikes. A flash of white runs up the wire, and for just a moment, the dome bursts into a dazzling blue light. I'm thrown backwards to the ground, my body useless, paralyzed, eyes frozen wide, as feathery bits of matter rain down onto me. I can't reach PETA. I can't even reach my pearl. My eyes strain to capture one last image of beauty to take with me. Right before the explosion begins, I find a star. One more chapter. We can do it. We have the time. It's only 9:09. That chapter gave me friggin' chills, you guys. Friggin' chills. Remember who the enemy is. Really quickly before we go on, I want to say that's a phrase that I try to remind a lot of young people all the time, because I feel like a lot of young people on what I'll call the blue side of things tend to do this thing where they do infighting. You know what I mean? You want out, or are you comfy? You want comfy, or you want out? Are you comfy, or you want out? They do infighting. Like, they'll find some little thing that someone does and consider them the enemy because of that little thing, right? Like, for example, when I posted a store-bought slime review, or no, it was that Crazy Erin's putty that I bought last year. I bought it before she was born, and I just forgot to review it, you guys. And so I said in the video, oh, I was walking through Target and I picked this up, and I got no less than, I think, 10 or 20 comments from people mad at me because I shopped at Target. And they were considering me the enemy and reporting me and doing things like that because I didn't abide by the Target boycott. And I said, well, first of all, the boycott wasn't even in place when I bought this. So, like, let's start there. But second of all, you're attacking the wrong person, right? Like, I'm on your side. You like, what are you doing here when you do that? It's a crazy choice to be mad at someone who is literally your ally. They're boycotting Target because of DEI stuff, which I totally understand, but I'm the wrong person to be angry at. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on your side. And so I think that's the point that Suzanne Collins is trying to make here in this chapter. Remember who the enemy is. You know what I mean? I know, she holds her head up so beautifully, right? But let's finish this because we have just enough time to finish this, which I think is amazing. We're gonna end this book today, and we'll start the next one tomorrow. Everything seems to, chapter 27, page 380. Have y'all seen her? I know, right? Yeah, right, seriously, Anya. Everything seems to erupt at once. The earth explodes into showers of dirt and plant matter. Trees burst into flames. Even the sky fills with brightly colored blossoms of light. I can't think of why the sky is being bombed until I remember that the game makers are shooting off fireworks up there, while I realize that the real destruction occurs on the ground, just in case it's not enough fun watching the obliteration of the arena and the remaining tributes, or perhaps it's to illuminate our gory ends. Will they let anyone survive? Will there be a victor at all of the 75th Hunger Games? Maybe not. After all, what is this quarter quell but what was it that President Snow read from the card? A reminder to the rebels that even the strongest among them cannot overcome the power of the capital. Not even the strongest will triumph. Perhaps they never intended for there to be a victor in these games at all, or perhaps my final act of rebellion forced their hand. I'm sorry, Peeta, I think. I'm sorry I couldn't save you. Save him? More likely I stole his last chance at life and condemned him by destroying the force field. Maybe if we all played by the rules, maybe they will let him live. The hovercraft materializes above me without warning. If it was quiet and a mockingjay perched close at hand, I would have heard the jungle go silent and the bird call that precedes the appearance of anything that any capital aircraft, but my ears could never make out anything so delicate in this bombardment. The claw drops from the underside until it's directly overhead. The metal talons slide under me. I want to scream and run and smash my way out of it, but I'm frozen and helpless to do anything but fervently hope that I'll die before I reach the shadowy figure that awaits above me. They have not spared my life to crown me victor, but to make me die a slow death as slowly as possible and as public as possible. My worst fears are condemned. Condemned. Puffle, condemned. And she thought I mispronounced Puffle on purpose. Condemned. My worst fears are confirmed. Yeah, where's Olivia when we need her? Tell me about it. My worst fears are confirmed when the face that greets me inside the hovercraft belongs to Plutarch Heavensby, the head game maker. What a mess I've made of his beautiful games with the clever ticking clock in the field of victors. He will suffer for his failure, probably lose his life, but not before he sees me punished. He reaches his hand for me and I think it's to strike, but he does something worse. With his thumb and his forefinger, he slides my eyelids shut, sentencing me to the vulnerability of darkness. They can't do anything to me now, and they can do anything to me now, and I will not even see it coming. Why can't I read? This is such an important chapter. Focus, Sasha. Focus, Mommy. Say focus, Mommy. Focus, Mommy. My heart pounds so hard that the blood begins to stream from beneath my soaked moss bandage. My thoughts grow foggy. Possibly I can bleed to death before they can even revive me at all. And in my mind, I whisper a thank you to Joanna Mason for the excellent wound that she inflicted as I black out. When I swim back to semi-consciousness, I can feel that I'm lying on a padded table. There's a pinching sensation of tubes in my left arm. They're trying to keep me alive because if I slide quietly and privately into death, it will be a victory for me. I'm still largely unable to move, and I open my eyes to raise my head. But my right arm has regained a little bit of its motion. It flops across my body, feeling like a flipper. No, something less animated, like a club. I have no real motor coordination. Proof that I even still have fingers, and yet I manage to swing my arm around until I rip the tubes out and a beeping goes off, but I can't stay awake to find out who it will summon. You want to go in your bouncer? You want to bounce? Do you want to bounce? Wee! 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 There you go, my sweet girl. There you go. There you go. You wanted to wake up for the end of the book? Yeah, that's exciting. Let's bounce for the end of the book. Okay. The next time I surface, my hands are tied down to the table and the tubes are back in my arm. I can barely open my eyes and lift my head, slightly though. I'm in a large room with low ceilings and a silvery light. There are 2 rows of beds facing each other, and I can hear the breathing of what I assume are my fellow victors. Directly across from me, I can see Beatty with about 10 different machines hooked up to him. Just let us die already, I scream in my mind, and I slam my head back as hard as I can against the table, trying to go out again. When I finally and truly wake up, the restraints are gone. I raise my hand and I find that I do have fingers that can move on my command again. I push myself into a seating position and I hold onto the padded table until the room settles into focus. My left arm is bandaged, but the tubes dangle off a stand by my bed. I'm alone. except for Beatty, who lies in front of me, being sustained by his army of machines. Where are the others then? Peta, Finnick, and Obaria, and there's one more, right? Either Joanna or Chafe or Brutus are still alive when the bombs began. I'm sure that they'll want to make an example of us all, but where have they taken them? Have they moved them from the hospital to prison, maybe? Peta? I whisper. I so wanted to protect him, and I am still resolved to do so. Since I have failed to keep him safe in life, I must find him and kill him now before the capital gets to choose an agonizing means of death for him. I slide my legs off the table and look around for a weapon. There are a few syringes sealed in a sterile plastic on a table near Beatty's bed. Perfect. All I need is air and a clear shot of one of his veins. I pause for a moment, and I consider ending Beatty, but if I do, the monitors will start beeping, and I'll be caught before I go to Peta, and I make a silent promise to return and finish him off if I can. I'm naked except for a thin nightgown, so I slip the syringe under the bandage that covers the wound on my arm. There are no guards at the door. No doubt I'm miles beneath the training center or in some capital stronghold, and the possibility of my next escape is non-existent. It doesn't matter, though. I'm not escaping. I'm just finishing my job. I creep down a narrow hallway to a metal door that stands slightly ajar. Someone's behind it. I take out the syringe and I grip it in my hand. I flatten myself against the wall and I listen to the voices inside. Communications are down in 7, 10, and 12, but 11 has control of transportation now, so at least there's hope of them getting some food out. It's Plutarch Heavensby, I think, although I've only really spoken with him once. A hoarse voice asks a question. No, I'm sorry. There's absolutely no way that I can get you to 4, but I've given special orders for her retrieval if possible. That's the best that I can do for you, Finnick. Finnick? My mind struggles to make sense of the conversation, of the fact that it's taking place between Plutarch Heavensby and Finnick. Is he so near and dear to the capital that he'll be excused of his crimes? Or did he really have no idea what Beatty intended to do? He croaks out something else, something heavy with despair. They'll be stupid. That's the worst thing you could do. Get killed for her for sure. As long as you're alive, they'll keep her alive as bait, says Hamish. Says Hamish? I bang through the door and I stumble into the room. Hamish, Plutarch, and a very beat-up Finnick are sitting around a table laid with a meal that no one is eating. Daylight streams into curved windows, and the distance at the top of the forest trees were flying. Done knocking yourself out, sweetheart? Says Hamish. The annoyance is clear in his voice, but as I careen forward, he steps up and catches my wrist, steadying me slightly. He looks at my hands. So it's you and a syringe against the capital then? See, this is why no one lets you make the plans. I stare at him uncomprehendingly. Drop it. And I feel the pressure increase on my right wrist until my hand is forced to open, and I release the syringe, and he settles me into a chair next to Finnick. Plutarch puts a bowl of broth in front of me and a roll, and slips a spoon into my hand. Eat, he says in a much kinder voice than Hamish used. Hamish sits directly in front of me. Katniss, I'm going to explain what happened, and I don't want you to ask any questions until I'm through. Do you understand? And I nod numbly. Numbly? Nope, that's not a word. She's laughing at me. You can't see it, but she's laughing. I'm gonna take a drink. I got too excited. This is why we can't have nice things. There's that extra L. It dropped out of the other word, but it's here now. I nod numbly, and this is what he tells me. Are we ready, you guys? This is really important. Mommy needs to focus because this is an important moment. Mommy has to read properly. Do you understand, my sweet, beautiful baby angel? Yes, you do. Okay, here goes Mommy. There was a plan to break us out of the arena from the moment the quell was announced. The victor tributes from 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 11 had varying degrees of knowledge about it. Plutarch Heavensby has been, for several years, part of an undercover group aimed at overthrowing the capital. He made sure that the wire was among the weapons that Beatty was in charge of blowing a hole through the force field with. The bread we received in the arena was coded for the amount of time to the rescue. The district where the bread originated indicated the day, 3. The number of rolls, the hour, 24. The hovercraft belongs to District 13. Bonnie and Twill, the women that I met in the woods from 8, were right about its existence and its defense capabilities. Capabilities. We are currently on a very roundabout journey to District 13. We're going to District 13, baby girl. Meanwhile, most of the districts in Panem are in full-scale rebellion. Hamish stops to see if I'm following, or maybe he's done for the moment. It's an awful lot to take in, this elaborate plan, which I was a piece of, just as I was meant to be a piece in the Hunger Games. I was used without consent, without knowledge. At least in the Hunger Games, I knew I was being played with. My supposed friends have been a lot more secretive. You didn't tell me. My voice is ragged as Phoenix. Neither you nor Peeta were told. We couldn't risk it, says Plutarch. I was even worried that you might mention my indiscretion with the watch during the games. I know, right? I'd be mad too. He pulls out his pocket watch and he runs his thumb across the crystal, lighting up the Mockingjay. Of course, when I showed you this, it was merely tipping you off about the arena. As a mentor, I thought it might be the first step towards gaining your trust. I never dreamed that you were going to be a tribute again. I still don't understand why Peeta and I weren't let in on the plan. I know, I say. Because once the force field blew, you would be the first ones they would try to capture, and the less you knew, the better, says Hamish. It does sound like a Taylor Swift Easter egg, yeah. The first ones? Why? I say, trying to hang on to the train of thought. Yeah, you want to read? For the same reason the rest of us agreed to die to keep you alive, says Finnick. No, Joanna tried to kill me, I say. Joanna knocked you out to cut the tracker from your arm and lead Brutus and Anabaria away from you, says Hamish. What? My head aches so much that I want them to stop talking in circles. I don't know what we had to save you, because you're the Mockingjay, Katniss, says Plutarch, while you live the revolution lives. The bird, the pin, the song, the berries, the watch, the cracker, the dress that bursts into flames. I'm the Mockingjay, the one that survives despite the Capitol's plans, the symbol of the rebellion. It's what I suspected in the woods when I found Bonnie and Twill escaping, though I never really understood the magnitude of it, and then I wasn't meant to understand it. I think of Hamish as sneering at my plans to flee District 12, start my own uprising, the very notion that District 13 could exist, subterfuge and deception. And if he could do that, behind his mask of sarcasm and drunkenness so convincingly and for so long, what else has he lied about? I know what else. Peeta, I whispered, my heart sinking. I know. The others kept Peeta alive because if he died, we knew that there would be no keeping you in the Alliance, says Hamish, and we couldn't risk leaving you unprotected. His words are matter of fact, his expression unchanged, but he can't hide the tinge of gray that colors his face. Where is Peeta? I hiss at him. He was picked up by the Capitol along with Joanna and Anabaria, says Hamish. And finally, he has the decency to drop his gaze. Technically, I'm unarmed, but no one should ever underestimate the harm that fingernails can do, especially if the target is unprepared. So I lunge across the table and I rake mine down Hamish's face, causing blood to flow and damage to one eye. And then we're both screaming terrible, terrible things at each other, and Finnick is trying to drag me out, and I know it's all Hamish can do to not rip me apart, but I'm the Mockingjay. I'm the Mockingjay, and it's too hard keeping me alive as it is. Other hands help Finnick, and I'm back on my table as my body is restrained and my wrists are tied down, so I slam my head in fury again and again against the table, and needles poke my arm. I know, and my head hurts so badly that I stop fighting and simply wail in horrible, dying animal way until my voice gives out. I know. The drug causes sedation, not sleep, so I'm trapped in a fuzzy, dull, aching misery for what seems like always. Do you want out? Or do you want to stay in your bouncer? They reinsert their tubes and they talk to me in soothing voices that never reach me. You want out. Okay, that's fine. You can have out. You can have out. Do you want to be in Mommy's lap while she finishes the book? Yeah? You want to be in Mommy's lap while she finishes the book? Wee! Wee, wee, wee. Okay. Okay. We're almost done, huh? Where was I? Katniss, I'm sorry. Finnick's voice comes from the bed next to me and slips into my consciousness. Perhaps it's because we're in the same kind of pain. I wanted to go back for him and Joanna, but I couldn't move. Yeah? What's the matter, my sweet angel? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, what's wrong? You want to lay down this way so you can see Mommy? Hey. Hey, hey, look at Mommy. Hey. Your eyes are closed. Why are your eyes closed all of a sudden? Are you still sleepy? Do you want to look at mommy? You can kick mommy. It's okay. Kick. I know it feels nice. I know it's a good pressure. I wanted to go back for him and Joanna, but I couldn't move. I don't answer. Finnick O'Dare's good intentions mean less than nothing to me. It's better for him than Joanna. They'll figure out that he doesn't know anything pretty fast and they won't kill him if they think they can use him against you anyway, says Finnick. Like bait, I say to the ceiling. Like how they used Annie for bait, Finnick. I can hear him weeping, but I don't care. They probably won't even bother to question her. She's so far gone. Gone right off the deep end years ago in the games. There's a good chance that I'm headed in the same direction. Maybe I'm already going crazy and no one has had the heart to tell me. I feel crazy enough. I wish she were dead, he says. I wish they were all dead and that we were too. It would be best. Well, there's no good response to that. I can hardly dispute it since I was walking around with a syringe ready to kill Peter when I found them. Do I really want him dead? What I want is to have him back, but I'll never get him back now. Even if the rebel forces could somehow overthrow the Capitol, you can be sure that President Snow's last act would be to cut Peter's throat himself. No, I'll never get him back. So then dead is best. But will Peter know that? Or will he keep fighting? He's so strong and he's such a good liar. Does he think that he has a chance of surviving? Does he even care if he does? He was planning to end it anyway. He already signed off on life. Maybe if he knows that I was rescued, he's even happy about it. He feels fulfilled that his mission to keep me alive was done. I think that I hate him even more than I hate Hamish. I give up. I stop speaking, responding. I refuse food and water. They can pump whatever they want into my arm, but it takes more than that to keep a person going once she's lost the will to live. And I have a funny notion that if I do die, maybe Peter will be allowed to live. Well, not as a free person, but maybe as an AVOX or something like that, waiting on the future tributes of District 12. And then maybe he could find some way to escape. My death could, in fact, still save him. If I can't, then it's no matter. It's enough to die of spite, to punish Hamish, who of all the people in this horrible, rotting world has turned Peter and me into pieces in his own games. I trusted him. I put what was precious in Hamish's hands, and he betrayed me. See, this is why no one lets you make the plans, he had said. Yeah, that's true. No one in their right mind would let me make the plans, because I obviously can't tell a friend from an enemy. A lot of people come by to talk to me, but I make all their words sound like clicking of the insects in the jungle, meaningless and distant, dangerous, but only if approached. Whatever words start to become distinct, I moan, and they give me more painkillers that fixes things right up. Until one time I open my eyes and find someone I cannot block out looking at me, someone who will not plead or explain or think he can alter my decision with entreaties, because he alone knows how I really operate. Gale, I whisper. Hey, Catnip. He reaches down and pushes a strand of hair out of my eyes. One side of his face has been burned fairly recently. His arm is in a sling, and I can see the bandages under his miner's shirt. What happened to him? How is he even here? Something very bad has happened back home. It's not so much of a question of forgetting Peter as remembering the others. All it takes is one look at Gale, and they all come surging into the present, demanding to be acknowledged. Prim, I gasp. She's alive. So's your mother. I got them out in time, bless you, he says. They're not in District 12? I ask. After the games, they sent in planes. They dropped firebombs. He hesitates. Well, you know what happened to the Hob. I do. I saw it go up. That old warehouse embodied with coal dust. The whole district's covered with the stuff, and a new kind of horror begins to rise up inside of me as I imagine firebombs hitting the seam. They're not in District 12, I repeat, as if saying it will somehow fend off the truth. Katniss, says Gale softly, and I recognize that voice. It's the same one he uses to approach wounded animals before he delivers their death blow. What? I instinctively raise my hand to block his words out, but he catches it and he holds on tightly. Don't, I whisper. But Gale is not one to keep secrets from me. Katniss, there is no District 12. End of Book 2. Yeah, so her family's definitely not in District 12 because it's not there anymore. Dun dun dun! Dum, dum, dum. She's laughing at me. Are you laughing at mommy? And we finished just in time. We finished the whole book. It was a really good book, Jamie. And book 3 is just as good. Just missed it. Don't worry, Amanda. I'm going to upload it right away because we just finished and we're starting the next one tomorrow. So you're going to want to catch up on this one before then. Obviously, although I think you've read them before. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All of you that have read all of these, do we ever get a happy ending? Ending is such a ooh, it depends on your definition of happy. This is not a happily ever after series, okay? I don't want to give any spoilers. Yeah, what Liz said. So here's the thing. Happy is relative, right? And this is definitely not, like, if you're imagining, like, riding off into the sunset on a horse with a prince or whatever, yeah. Yeah, what Jen said. The book is like reality. Nothing is perfect. It's a satisfying ending, right? Yeah, bittersweet. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. It doesn't end on a cliffhanger, I'll tell you that much. So that's nice, at least. I know this book ended on a cliffhanger, but there's still one more, you know, in this section of it. And then there's the other 2 outliers. So. Crazy, right? Yeah, it is satisfying. Very satisfying. There's something like, ooh, yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, well done. Shocking. It surprised the heck out of me. Yeah, this is not a world where everything gets wrapped up in a shiny little bow. But that's also not reality either, you know? So I'm hoping to do a slime live tonight because I need to make bases for Thursday's roll for slime. I think you'll be okay, Sloth. I think you'll be okay. I will tell you guys I think the end of the most recent book is the one that made me cry the most. Mayday! That's right. It is the perfect ending, yeah. There's a lot of poems in the most recent book, and I think the poems are really, really beautiful and poignant. Are you kicking your milk source? Okay, you want to go eat breakfast. Second breakfast. Do you need second breakfast? You want to talk about second breakfast? You want to talk about second breakfast? Yeah, I agree, Jillian. I think that a happy ending would be not fitting to this type of a series. All right, so we're gonna go. We will see you later, and I hope you guys have a great day until we're back for more. Bye, guys. I know.